Okay, let's get into this. When we talk about weight loss, we usually focus on the numbers, right? The scale, the pounds coming off.
Yeah, the tangible stuff.
Exactly. But what if the biggest change, especially with some of these newer interventions like semaglutide,
Mhm.
what if it's not the weight disappearing, but maybe a craving that just doesn't arrive? Have you seen that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a really interesting point, and honestly, one that catches people off guard. That silence,
Mm.
the feeling when a usual urge just isn't there.
Uh,
It can actually feel stranger, more unsettling than the craving itself
More
sometimes.
unsettling. Wow.
Yeah, because it's not just physical. It opens up this whole um, psychological space, this emotional territory, when that familiar coping strategy food suddenly goes quiet.
That's a really key distinction, and that's exactly what we want to unpack today. This isn't just about, like, the mechanics of weight loss.
Right.
It's about that inner world, the one that maybe gets louder when the noise from food cravings quiets down. And to help us navigate this, we're really leaning into the insights of Dan Hollis. He's got such a unique way of looking at this, helping people through these, well, pretty profound shifts.
Yeah, Dan Hollis's work is central here. Our goal today is really to explore what he calls the quiet window.
The quiet window, okay.
Yeah, it's that moment, that space where the constant chatter about food kind of fades. And what's surprising is that it often reveals a totally different kind of hunger, a deeper need maybe, a chance for a real conversation with yourself.
Okay, so how do we see this in action?
Well, we're going to look at a specific story he shares and then really dig into the core ideas that come from it.
Great. And this story, it really brings it home, doesn't it? It's about a woman, Kate, 46, busy mom, right?
That's the one. She was about 2 months into using semaglutide. Things were looking good on paper, 7 pounds down, blood sugar improving.
All the markers heading the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she told Dan Hollis she felt almost like a ghost in her own kitchen. That's how she put it,
A ghost in her kitchen. That's powerful.
isn't it? She said, I walked past the pantry, and for the first time in 20 years, nothing reached back. Just silence.
Wow. And what did Hollis say to that? That's a heavy thing to share.
Yeah, and this is where his approach is so different. He didn't jump in with, a simple fix or platitude. He just looked at her and said, that's the quiet window.
Okay.
He told her, that's the moment where the food stops answering your questions and the real ones start talking.
The real questions start talking.
Yeah. And he points out something we rarely discuss,
Mm-hmm.
this sort of subtle grief that can come with losing the thing that numbed you. Even if that thing, like maybe overeating, was causing problems.
So it wasn't the food itself she missed?
Not exactly. It was more the predictability, the routine, the story she told herself, like, okay, things are chaotic, but at least I know how to feel full. I know this pattern. Losing that can feel like losing a part of yourself almost.
She had this really vivid metaphor, too, didn't she, about her brain?
She did, yeah. Like a library after hours. She said, it's not that I'm sad. It's just that everything feels like truth now. No more noise, just the quiet truth of whatever she was actually feeling.
And that is where Dan Hollis really starts his work.
Precisely. For him, it's less about the pounds or the lab results, though those matter. It's about what happens when someone starts hearing those echoes, those deeper questions they might have been using food to silence for years.
Questions like,
Like, what am I really hungry for when I'm not physically hungry? Or who am I if I'm not constantly chasing that feeling of fullness or satisfaction from food? What's actually here when the noise stops?
okay, so he doesn't just give a pep talk then.
No, not at all. He talks about offering scaffolding. It's less about finding motivation, which can be fleeting, and more about building momentum.
A momentum, okay.
How does that work? It means not waiting for some big burst of willpower. Instead, you focus on small, consistent actions that build on each other, tiny wins. And it's also about recognizing the need behind a craving, not just white-knuckling through it.
So acknowledging the feeling instead of just fighting the urge.
Exactly. He's clear that semaglutide doesn't just erase emotional hunger. It can't. What it does, in his view, is clear the runway.
Clear the runway, I like that.
Yeah, so you can finally see what's actually trying to land, what feelings, what needs are coming up. For Kate, it wasn't some sudden dramatic revelation.
Right, it was smaller things.
Much smaller, like getting through a Wednesday without snacking because she felt sad, or choosing tea on Thursday instead of automatically reaching for more wine, taking a walk on Sunday, not because she had to burn calories, but because it felt good, like connecting with her future self.
So she's not fixed, but she's present, listening in that quiet.
Exactly. She's there. And that, for Dan Hollis, is the real work. That's the protocol.
So if semaglutide isn't the fix, How does he suggest people should think about it? What is its role?
He frames it as a pause, a breather, a reset button
The
maybe?
reset. Okay.
Yeah. And in that space it creates, that quiet window, he teaches that you actually get the chance to design a whole new system for yourself. It's not about finding a biological cheat code.
Right. It's not magic.
No. He'd say the real cheat was pretending willpower alone could ever solve something this complex in the first place. This is about intelligent adaptation within the space the medication provides.
That makes sense. So connecting this to the bigger picture, Hollis really seems to hammer home that the crucial work starts when the cravings lessen. That's when the underlying stuff surfaces.
Exactly. That's when the truth shows up, as he might put it. He
Yeah.
argues pretty strongly that people often stumble not because the medication suddenly stops working physically,
But because
but because they haven't been supported in rewriting those deep, ingrained rituals and self-stories that were tied up with food for maybe decades.
So it's not losing control, it's losing connection.
That's a great way to put it. Losing connection to your body's real signals, maybe connection to your purpose, or just yourself underneath the noise. And that's what his approach aims to help rebuild.
He has a powerful line about relapse too, doesn't he? It's not about hunger.
Right. He says, most people don't relapse into hunger. They relapse into confusion.
Confusion, that reframes things quite a bit.
It really does. It takes the shame out of setbacks, makes them predictable, even expected. They're just moments where your brain and body are trying to figure things out, trying to recalibrate. They're signals that you're human, not that you're lazy or broken.
Like the journey isn't a straight line up.
Definitely not. He uses the metaphor of a spiral staircase sometimes. You might feel like you're revisiting old patterns, kind of going in circles.
But you're still moving upwards.
Exactly. You're still making progress, even if it feels familiar.
So hitting a plateau isn't a failure, it's maybe your body needing a moment.
Yeah, your metabolism adjusting, asking for some grace. And when old cravings pop up, it's not weakness, it's memory. Just a neural pathway lighting up, asking, hey, do we still do this?
And the big shift is that now, maybe in that quiet window, you can actually answer differently.
Precisely. It's not that the medication failed. It might be that the story you're telling yourself about the setback needs an update.
Okay, so how does Hollis guide people to use that space constructively?
He teaches you to use it to ask questions, not make judgments. When a setback happens, instead of beating yourself up, ask, okay, what am I actually feeling right now? Forget the food for a second. What do I really need? And looking ahead, who do I want to be in this next phase?
That feels much more empowering.
It is. That's the core of it. Building a life where food is a tool, but not the only tool. And understanding that for every old habit tied to weight that fades, something new needs to be put in its place. You don't just remove things, you replace them.
So biology, like the medication, gives you a leg up.
Gives you a head start, clears the runway. But it's your evolving identity, your sense of self, that keeps you moving forward in a sustainable way. You don't maintain change through sheer discipline alone. You maintain it because it aligns with who you are becoming.
Okay, so let's bring this all together for you listening. What Dan Hollis's approach really highlights is that the truly transformative work in weight loss goes way beyond just counting calories or even taking medication.
Right. It's fundamentally about understanding and then responding to those deeper truths that start to surface when food isn't the main way you cope anymore.
And semaglutide in this view is like that critical pause button, that reset. It's a tool, a powerful one that clears the path.
Clears the runway.
Yeah, clears the runway, giving you the space you need to actually design a new way of operating to align with a new sense of self. It's about replacing old habits, not just trying to erase them.
And it's so important to remember, setbacks aren't failures. Think of them as predictable moments, opportunities to recalibrate, to learn something important.
They guide you to ask those really core questions.
Exactly. What am I feeling deep down? What is it I truly need right now? Who am I choosing to become? Healing, real change, isn't always loud or dramatic. Often it's quiet, intentional.
Just slowly layering in new choices, new thoughts.
New systems, yeah. All built during that kind of precious quiet window that something like semaglutide can help open up. It's not about morphing into someone totally different.
Yeah.
It's about finally having the clarity and the space to become more fully yourself.
So a final thought for you to carry with you. If you find yourself walking through that kind of silence, if maybe a craving you always expected didn't show up today, and that feels weirdly unsettling more than you thought it would, just know you're not broken. Not at all. You might just be starting to really hear yourself again, maybe for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, what profound insights, what important questions might you uncover in your own quiet window?